Have you ever wondered which countries in Europe have earned a less than favorable reputation? Whether it's due to political tensions, cultural differences, or historical rivalries, some countries in Europe have become infamous for being disliked, not only by their neighbors but by people from around the world. But why? What causes these strong reactions? In today's video, we're counting down the top 10 most hated countries in Europe. From controversial policies to deep-rooted historical feuds, these countries have earned their place on this list for various reasons. Stay with us until the end to discover which country is the most hated. And before we begin, make sure to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more eye-opening content like this. Let's dive right in. Number 10. Greece. Greece has faced a fair share of criticism, especially within Europe, due to its handling of economic crises and financial policies. The impact of the 2008 financial meltdown still echoes in the region. Greece's economic collapse in 2008 led to massive bailouts from the EU, causing resentment from countries like Germany, who shouldered much of the financial burden. Many Europeans blamed Greece's spending habits for contributing to the region's economic instability. Greece's political system has faced significant turmoil, with frequent changes in government and social unrest. This instability made it hard for the country to rebuild trust with other European nations, further fueling resentment. As one of the frontline nations dealing with the refugee crisis, Greece has struggled to manage the influx of migrants. Neighboring countries have criticized Greece's handling of the crisis, straining relations even more. Greece's laid-back Mediterranean lifestyle can sometimes clash with the stricter work ethics of northern European countries, leading to cultural friction. This perception adds to the tension between Greece and other EU nations. Greece's economic struggles, political instability, and immigration issues have earned it criticism and resentment from other European countries, placing it on this list. Number 9. Poland. Poland has been at the center of political controversies in Europe in recent years. With its conservative stance on many issues and growing nationalism, the country has drawn criticism from several corners of the continent. Poland's controversial judicial reforms have sparked tension between the country and the European Union. Critics argue that these reforms undermine the rule of law, creating a backlash from Western European nations that prioritize democracy and legal independence. The surge of nationalism and populism in Poland has led to strained relations with its neighbors. This inward focus, combined with conservative policies, has led to discomfort among more liberal European nations. Poland has adopted a strict anti-immigration stance, particularly during the height of the refugee crisis. This has put the country at odds with other EU members that have pushed for more open immigration policies. Poland's conservative government has been criticized for its stance on LGBTQ rights, with certain regions declaring themselves LGBTQ-free zones. This has caused outrage across Europe and led to widespread criticism from human rights groups. Poland's growing nationalism, judicial reforms, and conservative policies have made it a target of criticism within Europe, contributing to its spot on this list. Number 8. United Kingdom. The United Kingdom, once a key player in the European Union, has become one of the most controversial countries in Europe, especially following Brexit. The UK's decision to leave the European Union has sparked widespread frustration across the continent. Many Europeans saw Brexit as a betrayal, with the UK abandoning its commitments to the EU and creating political and economic upheaval. The rise of anti-immigration sentiments and nationalist rhetoric during the Brexit campaign further alienated the UK from its European neighbors. This created a divide between the UK and countries that believe in a more unified, cooperative Europe. Brexit caused significant economic disruption, not only within the UK but across Europe. The economic consequences of the UK's departure from the EU have led to resentment from countries that were closely linked to its economy. Some critics argue that the UK's attitude towards its European neighbors has been dismissive, with a sense of cultural superiority that has irked other countries. This perception only fueled the animosity during and after the Brexit negotiations. The UK's decision to leave the EU and its handling of the aftermath have earned it a significant amount of criticism and resentment, especially from its former European allies. Number 7. Hungary. Hungary has drawn sharp criticism from both Western European countries and international organizations for its political direction, particularly under the leadership of Prime Minister Viktor Orbán. Hungary has been accused of sliding toward authoritarianism, with Orbán's government consolidating power and undermining democratic institutions. This shift has caused significant tension between Hungary and the rest of Europe. Hungary's hardline stance on immigration has put it at odds with many EU countries, particularly during the refugee crisis. Its refusal to accept refugees has led to criticism from nations advocating for more humanitarian approaches. Hungary has been criticized for its restrictions on press freedom, with independent media outlets facing increasing pressure. This has sparked concern among European countries that prioritize free speech and democracy. Recent laws passed in Hungary that restrict LGBTQ rights have drawn condemnation from across Europe, with many viewing Hungary's policies as regressive and discriminatory. Hungary's political direction, including its authoritarian tendencies and controversial laws, has led to significant backlash within Europe, making it one of the most criticized countries on the continent. Number 6. Turkey. Turkey's geopolitical position and internal policies have drawn significant criticism, not just from European countries, but from the international community. Its actions in the region and political shifts have created friction with several European nations. Turkey's strained relationship with the European Union, particularly regarding its stalled EU membership bid and human rights concerns, has caused ongoing friction. The EU has criticized Turkey's government for crackdowns on press freedom and judicial independence, leading to growing discontent. Turkey's military actions, especially in Syria and against Kurdish groups, have raised alarms in Europe. These interventions have been seen as destabilizing, contributing to strained relations with European countries that prioritize diplomacy and peace efforts in the region. While Turkey hosts millions of Syrian refugees, its deal with the EU to control the flow of migrants has been controversial. Some European countries have criticized Turkey's handling of this issue, seeing it as leveraging the refugee crisis for political gain. Turkey's geopolitical moves, strained EU relations, and controversial military actions have placed it in the spotlight of European criticism, contributing to its place on this list. Number 5. Germany. Despite being an economic powerhouse, Germany's influence in European politics and economics has led to resentment from other countries, especially during financial crises. Germany's economic dominance within the EU has created a sense of unease among smaller European nations. Many feel that Germany's decisions often prioritize its own interests over the collective good of Europe. During the Eurozone crisis, Germany's strict approach to austerity measures in countries like Greece led to significant resentment. Many southern European countries blame Germany for worsening their economic struggles. Germany's decision to accept a large number of refugees during the migrant crisis created a political divide across Europe. While praised by some, other countries saw this move as reckless and disruptive to the EU as a whole. Germany's role as an economic leader and its controversial decisions during crises have created friction with other European countries, placing it on this list. Number 4. France. France's influential role in European politics, coupled with its often perceived arrogance, has made it a target of dislike from various neighboring countries. France's active involvement in European politics has made it a prominent player, but not always a popular one. Other countries have criticized France for overstepping and trying to assert its influence on regional matters. France's historical tensions with countries like Germany and the UK have left lingering feelings of animosity. While alliances have formed over the years, these old rivalries still shape public perception. France is often viewed as culturally elitist, with a reputation for dismissing the traditions and customs of other nations. This sense of cultural superiority has fueled resentment, particularly from smaller European countries. France's political involvement and historical rivalries, combined with its perceived cultural elitism, have made it one of the more controversial countries in Europe. Number 3. Spain. Spain's internal political struggles and historical colonial ties have led to criticism and unease from various European nations, especially in recent years. Spain's handling of the Catalonia independence movement has drawn significant criticism from both domestic and international audiences. The government's hardline stance against the region's push for independence led to protests and clashes, sparking international criticism regarding Spain's approach to self-determination. Spain's colonial past and its role in European imperialism have left a complicated legacy, leading to lingering resentment in certain regions of Europe. Many associate Spain with past exploitation, which affects its image today. Spain's ongoing economic challenges, including high unemployment rates and national debt, have caused tension within the European Union. Other EU nations, particularly those contributing to bailouts, view Spain as a financial burden, leading to further frustration. Spain's internal political struggles, colonial history, and economic difficulties have led to criticism both within and outside of Europe, placing it among the most disliked countries. Number 2. Italy. Italy's ongoing political instability, economic troubles, and contentious immigration policies have made it a frequent subject of criticism across Europe. Italy's ever-changing political landscape, marked by frequent government turnovers and shifting coalitions, has created uncertainty within the European Union. This instability has led to frustration from other EU nations that prioritize political cohesion. Italy's geographic location has made it a primary entry point for migrants coming to Europe. While Italy has called for EU support, its handling of the crisis has sparked tension both domestically and abroad, leading to sharp criticism from neighboring countries. Like Spain, Italy has faced persistent economic challenges, including high public debt and low growth. Many EU members are critical of Italy's handling of its financial issues, with concerns that its economic struggles could impact the broader European economy. Italy's political instability, controversial immigration policies, and economic difficulties have placed it high on the list of Europe's most disliked countries. Number 1. Russia. Although Russia is a transcontinental country, its actions within Europe have made it one of the most hated countries on the continent. Its aggressive foreign policies, particularly toward neighboring countries, have caused widespread resentment. Russia's 2014 annexation of Crimea is perhaps the most significant factor that has led to its negative reputation in Europe. This action violated international law and led to sanctions from numerous European countries, further isolating Russia. Russia has been accused of meddling in several European elections, sparking distrust across the continent. Allegations of cyber attacks and disinformation campaigns have only deepened the divide between Russia and its European neighbors. Russia's ongoing conflict with Ukraine continues to fuel animosity from European nations. This military aggression is seen as a threat to European stability and has led to significant economic and political consequences for Russia. Russia's military aggression, political interference, and disregard for international law have solidified its place as the most hated country in Europe, drawing widespread criticism and sanctions. Here are practical tips before moving to this top 10 most hated countries in Europe. Stay aware of local sentiments. Understand the reasons behind negative perceptions and adjust your behavior to avoid conflict. Practice cultural sensitivity. Be mindful of cultural differences and avoid engaging in behaviors that might offend locals. Research safety concerns. Stay updated on safety advisories and avoid regions where tensions are high. Limit political discussions. Avoid discussing sensitive political topics that could lead to negative interactions. Understand historical context. Be aware of the historical events that may contribute to the negative reputation of the country. Stay respectful in public. Always show respect to local customs, laws, and authorities to avoid misunderstandings. Be informed about travel restrictions. Check for any travel restrictions or advisories specific to the country. Seek local insights. Talk to locals to understand the day-to-day reality and learn how to navigate the social environment. Travel with awareness. Be conscious of how your nationality or background might affect interactions in these countries. Avoid controversial areas. Stay clear of regions known for protests or civil unrest to minimize potential dangers. From economic turmoil to political strife, these countries have earned their place on the list of the most hated countries in Europe for a variety of reasons. Whether it's due to controversial policies, historical tensions, or cultural misunderstandings, these nations have faced criticism and resentment from both their neighbors and the international community. Which country surprised you the most on this list? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss more engaging content just like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.